And welcome everybody to another edition of the GSMC Baseball Podcast brought to you by the GSMC Sports Network. As always, I'm your host, Kenneth Grunfelder, and it's great to have everybody here on this Friday, December 29th. We have a lot to talk about on the show today, but before I get into that, I just want to remind you guys, as always, to tip or donate and get your comments recognized, make sure to go to the following link. That is streamelements.com/GSMCSportsNetwork./tip. Again, that really helps the show, makes the show more interactive between myself, the host, and you guys, the viewers. Again, that is streamelements.com/GSMCSportsNetwork./tip. And as always, it is displayed on the ticker on the bottom of the show segment down below. So with that, let's get right into what we are going to talk about for today, at least on the baseball side of things. So we'll talk about Yamamoto's press conference. Also, had a couple of Dodger fans comment on my last video, so I kind of wanted to address them on the show. So we'll get into that. Then in the second part of the show, I'll go through some of the recent trades and signings around the league. Not major signings or trades, but I'll just get into them. Talk about them. That'll be the second part of the show. Then in the third part of the show, we'll go through the recent rumors and speculations and things like that as we're moving right along here in the off season. And then after that, we're going to get into looking at the current World Series odds for the teams that have the best chance of winning the World Series this year. So we'll go through that because I know with Yamamoto, Soto, Ohtani being moved around and signing and getting traded, the odds have changed for some teams. So we'll go through that as well. So that's the rundown for the show today. Also, obviously, the GSMC football podcast will be after this. That'll be at 10:30 a.m. Eastern time, so make sure to tune in for that. But yeah, this is the last day for shows in 2023, and then the next time we'll be doing shows will be in the new year, 2024. Can't believe it. So that's the rundown for today, and this will be the last show of 2023. So let's get right into the first topic, which is discussing Yamamoto's press conference. So the Dodgers obviously introduced him, met with the media. A couple of quotes here. He said, "I am beyond ecstatic to become a member of this historic franchise. I cannot express how much it means to me to be able to call Los Angeles my new home." Now, one of the biggest things with Yamamoto was the fact that, he went there because of Ohtani. Now, he did say, because I'm looking at an article, that Ohtani wasn't the sole reason that he decided to sign with the Dodgers. He said, "I wouldn't say Ohtani was the sole reason I decided to come here." He said, "Even if he went somewhere else, I probably still would have ended up in LA as a Dodger." On top of that, Shohei is obviously not only one of the best Japanese players, he's one of the best players, period, in all of Major League Baseball. To be able to play with him from here on out means a lot to me. So, basically, it's kind of like with Ohtani, what he originally did, signed with the Angels, because you're closer to your home country. And listen, there's nothing wrong with that. But obviously it does help when you have Ohtani there. There's familiarity there. Obviously, they were on the team that won the World Baseball Classic, so I can understand that. You're closer to home, and obviously there's some familiarity with one of your teammates. Because again, when the Yankees are trying to recruit him, Matsui and Tanaka, they're not on the Yankees anymore, So, but I mean, he did say that he was always going to be a Dodger. So I mean, because he met with the Mets and the Yankees, more than once, and I guess he just wanted to kind of see what offers he had out there, but ultimately, it seems like he was always going to end up with the Dodgers, and that was the case. And obviously a lot of people aren't happy because of, what the Dodgers have done in the offseason. And I know in the comment section, at least, I had some Dodger fans comment on my video. I mean, listen, for me, again, I'm not going to cry about it. it is what it is. But I will say that it is good that there is a villain in baseball. I think you need to have that, and I think the Dodgers have kind of become that now with the team that the super team that they have put together now. So yeah, I mean now it's up to the other teams to go out there and beat them, and you see a lot of a lot of jokes on social media that they'll lose to some random team in the playoffs in the first round, regardless of who they have. But we'll see. But yeah, I mean with Yamamoto, listen, I really don't have a problem with him saying, listen, I was always going to be a Dodger. I guess he kind of toyed with the New York teams, meeting with them a couple times, but again, you're just trying to see like what's out there for you, So, and ultimately the Dodgers, gave him, the offer that he wanted. The Yankees, they didn't go past $300 million, and I'm not going to get mad about that. I mean, listen, they offered him the best contract they could, and actually the other thing too is, so somebody commented this last week. Is the fact that they didn't want to the Yankees didn't want to upset Garrett Cole if they gave if they gave Yamamoto more money than him, and that was kind of one of the reasons they didn't want to make Yamamoto the highest paid pitcher on the team, I guess, because they already have Garrett Cole. So that actually was a factor into why they didn't go past $300 million. So I thought that was interesting. But I wanted to get into the comment. This is the big comment here. It was from Now the World 138. So he said, I'm 38. As a lifelong Dodger fan, everyone acts like the Dodgers did something wrong. Shohei went to every team and offered the same deal, so don't act like the Dodgers are doing something nefarious. It's 100% legal. Now, I don't think I ever said it's nefarious or yeah, whatever. I don't know why he said it like that, but it's 100% legal. Now, I don't think I ever said that it wasn't. I think it's just the fact that the Dodgers were able to do that, and you have other teams, smaller market teams that can't do that. I hate how every fan base is crying about how baseball is broken. Yes, it is, but it's broken because owners don't invest into the team. Dodger Stadium is 100% self-funded with no bonds from the city. The Dodgers invest into technology, into the farm system, and you're telling no one else can do the same thing. Get out of here with that nonsense. Trust me, the 90s and first part of the century were not fun times for us Dodger fans. Yeah, we still led the league in attendance year in and year out. I sat there as a child and watched the Yankees buy, build, win championships, and now you want to sit there and cry foul? The audacity. Don't tell me about dark times. We can never get free agents here unless it was guys past their primes or guys no one else wanted. Basically, yeah, just defending the Dodgers. The front office has done an amazing job of putting together a team that competes for a playoff berth every year with aspirations of a World Series. Does it happen every year? No, of course not. Parity is actually a wonderful thing, but the Dodgers care. And he said, I wouldn't want my team to do the same as such a silly take. I didn't want to read the whole thing. But, yeah, I had a lot to say about it. And, yeah, listen, the Dodgers, they have built a great team. And they have the ability to do that. And listen, yeah, I mean, they're picking, towards the end of the draft a lot because, they're a team that's always competing for a championship. But, some of the young guys that they have been able to, develop, they've been successful with that. I mean, you look at the pitching. Some of the guys are hurt, like Walker Buehler, Dustin May. But now they brought in Glasnow, they brought in Yamamoto because, again, the pitching was, the reason why they didn't get further in the playoffs last year. So they wanted to fix that, and that's what they did. They went out and they traded for Glasnow. They extended him. You sign Yamamoto. We'll see what happens with Kershaw. But, I mean, I don't think I wouldn't want my team doing the same thing as a silly take. I don't think it is. But again, listen, that's me as a 23-year-old Yankee fan. I only started watching baseball in 2007. That's like my earliest memory. I didn't see all those championships. I've kind of come to grips with the fact that the Yankees from the old days, that those aren't my Yankees. They aren't. Like I don't have I don't claim ownership of that because I didn't see it. I'm not one of those Yankee fans that goes around parading around like, oh, we got 27 rings. Well, I only saw one of them. I was technically alive for two, but I only saw one of them. So I can't really say those Yankees from the 90s and before that, I wasn't around for that, so I wouldn't want my team doing that. Because, again, it's like, yes, it's legal with what they did with Ohtani's contract, deferring all that money to, the end, the back end of his contract. But it's not fair to, like, a lot of other teams that are trying to, that don't have the resources, that don't have, um, the personnel that helps build these teams. Because there's a lot of teams that are kind of just been bad for so many years since I started watching baseball, and they're kind of just, circling around, like there'll be times where they do compete and then they end up going back into the tank and not being good again. With the Dodgers, yeah, they're able to do that because they have the resources. They got the money for it. And yeah, they've been able to, they have one of the better, well, they did have one of the better farm systems. I don't know where they rank right now, but yeah, I mean, the pitching, they dealt with injuries last year. And listen, Ohtani's going to be part of that rotation, not in 2024, but the following year. Again, Glasnow, Yamamoto, it's going to help to go along with Walker Buehler and with some of the other guys they have there as well. But I don't think it's wrong with what I said about, I don't want my team doing that. Because, yeah, I mean, it's not fair. But again, like, if my team does it, there's nothing I can do about it. Again, I'm not going to sit there and be like, this is, not fair. But, yeah, I'd rather my team not do it. And, you pay the contract while the player is playing. So I don't know if that makes any sense. But, yeah, but definitely a good comment, I guess, very lengthy. But, at the end of the day, it is what it is, I mean, I'm still going to try to enjoy what my team is able to do as everybody else is with their teams, unless your team really just has no chance to do anything this year, because there are a few. But, what's done is done. And, the Dodgers, they have had a heck of an offseason. And again, they have the resources to do it. So, there's nothing illegal about that. So, but yeah, that's pretty much it when talking about this. Let me know what you guys think about, Dodgers getting Yamamoto. And, yeah, so with that, we will, and what the other stuff Yamamoto had to say. So with that, when we come back from our first break, we'll talk about some of the other recent signings and trades that happened. Nothing, major, but there's been some moves recently. One of them involving my team, so we'll get into that when we come back from our first break of the show. So with that being said, stick around, and we'll be right back here on the GSMC Baseball Podcast. And we are back here on the GSMC Baseball Podcast. And for the second part of the show, we're going to talk about some of the recent signings and trades that have happened. Again, nothing super groundbreaking, anything like that. But just wanted to get into that because we're still waiting on some of the bigger free agents to sign. Post Yamamoto and Ohtani, and obviously Soto being traded. But so the Yankees did make a trade. They actually traded former top prospect Estevan Florial to the Guardians, and they acquired a right-hander Cody Morris. So Florial signed with the Yankees in 2015 and was rated their top prospect in 2019 by MLB.com before dropping to 6th in 2020, 10th in 2021, and 30th in 2022. And listen, he never really got like a fair shot, I guess. But that's on one hand. The other hand is when he did get his shot, he didn't hit. He really didn't hit. And, one of the big criticisms with the Yankees is that they have held on to their prospects for way too long. And he was one of them. So he goes to the Guardians. They get Cody Morris, who made his big league debut in September of 2022 and had a 6.75 ERA in 6 appearances with the Guardians in 2023, striking out 9, walking 6 in 8 innings. He averaged 95.2 miles per hour with his fastball. Now, Morris was 2-1 with a 3.23 ERA in 4 starts and 17 relief appearances for AAA Columbus and AA Akron this year, striking out 56 and walking 27 in 39 innings. Now, I think, you look at the 6.75 ERA and you're like, oh, God, this is not good for the Yankees. But, what the Yankees have been able to do is they take these no-name relievers that you never heard of and they turn them into studs. Now, is that going to happen with Cody Morris? I don't know. We'll see. But, this is a trade that they made because, well, they traded away a lot of their pitching depth. And they need more because, obviously, they traded a big chunk of it to the Padres to get Soto. And, the fact that they were able to get anything out of Florial, you'll take that. So, we'll see. I mean, the Yankees, they have, one of the better pitching coaches in the league in Matt Blake. So hopefully he's able to turn Morris into a guy that could be, a good bullpen guy. Because right now, that's what the Yankees are looking for. And they still got to figure out what they're going to do with their rotation. So, so that was one of the trades that happened. Also, we'll talk about another trade. So Mitch Garver, who obviously played with the Rangers, was a part of the World Series team. He signed with the Mariners on a 2-year deal. So, Mariners, they really haven't done much here in the offseason, and you're kind of hoping that maybe they would because, this is a team that, that missed out on the playoffs by a few games last year. Well, this year, still technically. So you're hoping that, they could turn it around and, get back to the team that made it in 2022. So, Mitch Garver, 2-year contract with a mutual option running through the 2026 season. So, in 2023, he hit 19 home runs in just 87 games with a 270 batting average and a 370 on base percentage. So, again, he provides some pop. He's going to be used primarily as as a DH, and he's going to be, the backup catcher. But at least the Mariners did something. But you would I think as a Mariners fan, you're kind of hoping that, that maybe they bring in somebody else. Because there are still some names out there, of course. But, they did sign a bat. Also, the Blue Jays, they made a couple of moves. So they brought back Kevin Kiermaier, and they signed Isaiah Kiner-Falefa to a 2-year deal, I believe. Kiermaier, they brought back on a 1-year deal. Listen, they really haven't done anything flashy, the Blue Jays. Again, because, listen, they missed out on Ohtani. You thought that Ohtani was going to was flying there because they were saying, oh, it looks like he's heading to Toronto, And it turns out that wasn't even the case. Again, that's just people, trying to be the first one to report something as opposed to, waiting, and getting, the full story. But that wasn't the case. Ohtani was at home, and then he ultimately signed with the Dodgers. So then the Blue Jays, they bring back Kiermaier, and they sign IKF. And I know for my sister, for some reason, she was a huge IKF fan just because of his name. Like if he had, a name like John Smith, like she probably wouldn't even care, honestly. But because his name was Isaiah Kiner Falefa, that just for some reason, was a big deal. So Kiermaier in 2023, he had a 3.9 WAR, 98 hits, and 370 at bats, 8 home runs, a 265 batting average. I mean, he was okay for the Blue Jays last year. Still has a good glove out there in the outfield. And then IKF stats for the Yankees last year, if we could pull those up. So 79 hits and 326 at bats, 6 home runs, a 242 batting average. Yeah, I mean, he was kind of used as he really was their utility guy last year. He played the outfield. That's just how bad of a season the Yankees had last year, for their standards, where you have IKF, who was supposed to be your starting shortstop. He ends up being your center fielder at certain points, because you had Harrison Bader getting hurt, and not even that, they just didn't have any outfielders. Now they have a surplus of outfielders, which is great. For the Blue Jays, you get a utility guy, but these moves don't really move the needle. The Blue Jays are kind of like still in the same spot. So I don't know what they're gonna do. But you know what? The team is talented, and they have a really good rotation. But they need an offense that they need some kind of spark in their offense. But you would think, like with the players that they already have, like Bo Bichette, George Springer, Vladimir Guerrero Jr., you would think with these guys that they don't need that, but they kind of do, because they had a disappointing end to their season as well. So, and I don't think, they brought back Kiermaier, who they already had, and now you're bringing in Isaiah Kiner Falefa, who's going to be a utility guy. These moves don't move the needle for the Blue Jays. They're kind of still in the same spot. Although they're still going to be a good team this year, but they got to figure something out. So another move. So Martin Maldonado, he signed a 1-year deal with the White Sox. 69 hits and 362 at bats, 15 home runs, 191 batting average. A good defensive catcher. He's not known for like his bat. A guy that's been with the Astros. Won a couple championships with them. I believe he was on both the 2020 the 2022 team and the 2017 team. Right, he was on both of them. If I can, now Safari screwed me up now. So yeah, let's actually go back to his stats. But yeah, so the White Sox again, good defensive catcher, but that's really it. Actually, he was on the. No, he wasn't. He was actually on the Angels. Never mind, my mistake. He was on the 2018 team, but that team went to the championship game, or the championship series. Sorry. Yeah, so he was with them in 2018. Got bounced around a little bit. Came back in 2019. So he was on the teams that got to the World Series, but he was on the team that won it in 2022. So, but yeah, that's another move that was made as well. I think that's it, unless I'm missing another one that happened recently. Because other than that, it's really just been like rumors. Yeah, so Isaiah Kiner Falefa, Kiermaier, we talked about, Maldonado, Mitch Garver. Oh yeah, also I did talk about it, but the specifics of the deal. So the Padres did sign Japanese relief pitcher Yuki Matsui to a 5-year contract. 39 saves with a 1.57 ERA. Last season as the closer for the Rakuten Golden Eagles. So that's the replacement for Josh Hader. So we'll see how it translates to the majors. But at least for the Padres, they found their replacement as Josh Hader continues to be a free agent. We'll see where he ends up because we'll talk about him in a little bit. But I think that's pretty much it with the signings and trades. I don't think anything else has occurred. In the next part of the show, we'll just talk about like the rumors and what who could potentially go where. Because again, there's still some free agents out there, and we'll see what happens, and whenever it does, we'll make sure to talk about it. So, but yeah, nothing groundbreaking since the Yamamoto signing. But yeah, I mean, there's, you still got Snell out there, Hader, Jordan Montgomery, Bellinger, but now with, like I've been saying, with Soto, Ohtani, Yamamoto, they're all, on their new teams. They're on the Yankees and the Dodgers now. Not really all their new teams, but we're kind of just waiting where everybody else is going. But those are like the big players that have moved. So now we're waiting on the other players to move, and I mean, we are we're going to be in the new year, and once football season's over, that's when we start talking about spring training and getting ready for 2024. So the 2024 season. So before we go into our next break of the show, I just want to remind you guys once again to tip or donate and get your comments recognized. Make sure you go to the following link. That is streamelements.com/GSMCSportsNetwork./tip. Again, that really helps the show, makes the show more interactive between myself, the host, and you guys, the viewers. Again, that is streamelements.com/GSMCSportsNetwork./tip. And as always, it is displayed on the ticker on the bottom of the show segment down below. So, when we come back from our second break of the show, I will talk about some recent off-season rumors, things like that. Guys that could be traded, guys that could be staying put. Where free agents like Snell, Bellinger, Hader, where those guys could potentially end up. And that is what we will discuss when we return from our second break of the show. So, with that being said, stick around, and we'll be right back here on the GSMC Baseball Podcast. All right, and we are back here on the GSMC Baseball Podcast, and for the third part of the show, we're kind of just going to go through, some recent offseason rumors. Obviously with, like I talked about, Soto, Ohtani, Yamamoto off the board. We still got some other guys out there that still need to be signed, that could be traded. So we'll kind of go through, the recent, trade rumors and things like that. So we'll start off with, as of yesterday, it's being reported that the Yankees, the Rangers, and the Dodgers are among the teams that are interested in Josh Hader. The Dodgers, no surprise. They're just really trying to load up. Now, the thing about Josh Hader is, he, two things. One, he wants to get a contract that is higher than Edwin Diaz's contract. Diaz's contract was a 5-year, $102 million deal with the Mets, obviously. Didn't play the first year, of course, because of the injury that he suffered in the World Baseball Classic. But yeah, Hader's looking for a deal that's higher than that. And, the three teams that are involved can definitely give him that deal. It's a matter of, will they? The Dodgers, they probably will, because they're basically, printing money at this point. Well, they're not printing it, but you know what I mean. The Yankees could give him that deal too. But the thing with Hader is he only wants to pitch one inning. Like, he does not want to pitch multiple innings. Which, listen, for me, I like that flexibility in my bullpen. I like when you have guys that can pitch multiple innings. So that way you're just not, wasting guys. And, I would much rather have a guy that pitches multiple innings. Now, again, I wouldn't say no to having Josh Hader. I mean, he's one of the better closers, in the league. Now, there are times where he does blow games, and that's something that you have to worry about. Could be a little erratic sometimes. But, for me, I would take him, just to help the bullpen out. But for me as a Yankee fan, that's one thing that I've never really been worried about is the bullpen. I have confidence that the bullpen, will still be good next year, will still be effective. But, it's unfortunate that, they had to, trade Michael King to get Soto. But you got to do that. You got to do these type of things. You got to make sacrifices. So, Yankees, Rangers, and Dodgers are the teams that are interested in Hader. There's other teams as well, I'm sure. For me, I feel like the Yankees are the least likely to get him. I feel like the Rangers or the Dodgers will end up with him. I don't know. I feel like the Yankees, they want to... I think the Yankees, for me, they have to address their rotation. I think that's probably... Right now, that's probably like the more important thing. That should be the main priority is you got to, either you trade for somebody, or you sign a free agent. With what's out there, I think that's what they have to do, is prioritize, fixing this rotation, because right now, outside of Garrett Cole, you have a bunch of question marks. So I think, the Dodgers, I wouldn't be surprised if they end up with Hader. The Rangers, we'll see. They got some money to spend as well. So obviously, you still have Jordan Montgomery and Blake Snell out there. I did talk about how, their, West Coast teams have been reaching out to Blake Snell. So, we'll see. The Red Sox actually, apparently the Red Sox and a Yankee podcast I watch, apparently the Red Sox and Montgomery have mutual interest. So we'll see if he ends up going there. The Red Sox also are interested in bringing back James Paxton. So we'll see if that ends up happening as well. Another former Yankee. But, listen, the Red Sox, that's one thing they got to fix too is their rotation. They can't be relying on Chris Sale, at this point. He's not the same pitcher as he once was, and, he continues to get hurt too, So they got to try to, strengthen their rotation, because that's also something that's been a weakness, for a while now. And they've lost some guys over the years. Obviously, had Eovaldi leaving and going and winning the championship with the Rangers, because Eovaldi was one of their better pitchers for a while. Going back to their World Series run, when they had that juggernaut of a team. But yeah, we'll see. What ends up happening, but again, teams need pitching, and we'll see where these guys end up going. I guess, it really looks like Snell's going to end up on the West Coast just with a different team. And then, Montgomery, we'll see. The Yankees have interest in Montgomery. So, I'll take him. To be a middle of the rotation guy, I'll definitely take him. But I'd want him playing to his strengths, pitching to his strengths, because he used his fastball a lot more, which I guess is something that the Yankees, didn't have him doing. So, yeah, have him pitch to his strengths if he does come back. But, if they did get him back, I wouldn't be overjoyed by the fact that he'd be back. I'd be happy because at least hey, that's a that's a hole plugged up in the rotation. But I mean, but he did. Listen, he is coming off of winning a world championship with the Rangers, so he's definitely he's a different pitcher than he was when he left New York when they traded him. So. So the Giants are in the news, of course. They are. It says they're in on MLB at bat. They're big game hunting. So supposedly they're in on Snell, Bellinger, and Matt Chapman. Yeah, I mean they got some holes they got to plug up too. Well, I shouldn't say some, but yeah, I mean they're trying to. They want to compete, and unfortunately for them, these last couple of seasons. They've missed out on free agents. Judge, Correa. They did sign Jung-Hoo Lee. So that at least was something. But you want to get some of these guys that are still out there. And I mean, listen, if you could go and get a pitcher and maybe get Bellinger, I mean, yeah, that's an okay offseason, I guess. I don't know if that's going to be good enough to compete with the Dodgers. And if you figure the Diamondbacks are going to be better next year. I mean, they obviously added Eduardo Rodriguez to their rotation. They brought back Lourdes Gurriel Jr. So they're trying to run it back and, prove to everybody that this year wasn't a fluke. So, we'll see. But yeah, the Giants, I mean, they want to compete. It's a new era, Giants baseball, because pretty much everybody from the World Series team is gone. Brandon Crawford was really like one of the last remaining pieces there. So it's a new era. So they want to, they still want to pack that stadium out. So, we'll see if they end up getting any of these guys. I feel like they'll get at least one of them. Because now with the Bellinger market, it's kind of like, it's kind of like shrinking. Like you don't like, where is he going to end up? Are teams just reluctant to give him give him a big contract? I mean, listen, like. The Cubs seem like the most likely spot, especially like because you had the Blue Jays and the Cubs that I was talking about how they were like the favorites, but now the Blue Jays just brought back Kiermaier. They signed. Well, I don't think signing IKF really matters, even though he's a utility guy. But maybe they're just not in on Bellinger. Maybe they don't want to give him that contract. So I don't know. Maybe the Giants are the team that does it. I did talk about how the Angels are reportedly interested in Snell. The Red Sox and the Mets are among teams showing interest in Lucas Giolito. But, he kind of had a rough season, last year. I mean, it just was not a good year. It was a rough year for him. So I don't know, the Red Sox are probably looking for some guys that could just eat up innings, and he's a guy that could do that, I guess. The Mets, these are two teams that need help in their rotation. But Giolito coming off of the season that he had last year, I don't know. But if that's what they decide to do, then that's what they that's what they decide to do. So but yeah, then also Teoscar Hernandez, who I think is one of the more underrated free agents that are out there. The Dodgers, the Angels, and the Red Sox are showing interest in him. I feel like wherever he goes, he's going to be good. He's like I said, he's one of the more underrated free agents. He was good with the Blue Jays, of course. I think he got off to a little bit of a slow start with the Mariners, but then he kind of picked it up. So wherever he goes, I think he's going to be productive. I don't think the Dodgers necessarily need him. The Angels, they kind of need, help with now Ohtani leaving. The Red Sox, that would be a good fit for them. The familiarity, with the AL East. So, well, I'm kind of hoping he doesn't come back because he killed the Yankees. So I hope he doesn't. I hope he doesn't come back, but we'll see. Yeah, and I did talk about the Red Sox being interested in bringing back Paxton. Yeah, because I'm just going through what's on MLB. So also. The Mets were eyeing I almost said Victor Martinez, JD Martinez. Actually, the other day when I was with my friends, we were they had us guessing the certain years for who finished in the top 10 in the MVP voting, and Victor Martinez was one of them for one of the years. I think one of the years he was with Detroit, I want to say. So that's why he was on my mind. JD Martinez also played for the Tigers too. But JD Martinez is another guy. Like, I feel like you bring him in on a 1-year deal, I feel like he's going to do good. You know, I think he's still got some gas left in the tank. Obviously, he's getting a little bit older. But, you know, I feel like for the Mets, that would be good because that would be an upgrade over what they've had at DH in past years, you know, especially with, you know, recently with Vogelbach and that whole debacle. You know, so we'll see. You know, actually, let's see. So there was the Mets, and then there was another team that was interested in him. But like I said, with the Mets, that would be a decent signing. You know, getting him in on a 1-year deal. Yeah. So the Mets and the Angels are eyeing JD Martinez. 33 home runs, 103 RBIs, and 61 runs scored through 113 games with the Dodgers in 2023. That's what John Heyman was reporting. So, yeah, I mean, again, with the Angels, look, they're looking to try to... I mean, they're not going to replace Ohtani, but, like, you know, at least if you can get, you know, a couple of free agents in here to, you know, strengthen the lineup a bit, you know, at least that's something. I don't know. I mean, I feel like the Angels are really not going to end up with anything. You know, I think for me, trade Mike Trout somehow. A team will probably want Trout and just go into a rebuild because it's not going to work. It's not working. And how silly they must feel that, you know, Ohtani leaves and you got nothing for that. Whereas if you could have traded him at the deadline, you could have got like a haul for him, but they thought they could compete. You know, after they, you know, traded for a bunch of guys, it just it didn't really work out. And then Trout and Ohtani ended up getting hurt. So, you know, for me, I think the Angels are probably just going to not end up with anything, but we'll see. We'll see. I could be wrong. Maybe they end up with Bellinger somehow. I don't know. But, yeah, that's pretty much it when talking about, you know, off-season rumors. Let me know what you guys think. Where some of these free agents that are remaining, where do they ultimately end up? Hopefully, by the next time we do a show like this, we do a baseball podcast here, you know, there'll be more, you know, some of these names will be off the board and we can get into that. So, and again, exciting time because, you know, we're going to have more shows, more new faces that you'll see here in the coming weeks. So that's something to definitely look forward to. But, yeah, so with that, we are going to take our final break of the show. And then when we come back, we're going to look at the updated World Series odds for, you know, the top teams, you know, after some of the bigger moves that were made so far here in the offseason. So that's what we will do when we come back from our final break of the show. So, once again, with that being said, stick around, and we'll be right back here on the GSMC Baseball Podcast. And we are back here on the GSMC Baseball Podcast. And for the final part of the show, we are now going to talk about the final, well, not the final, well, the final part of the show. We're going to talk about the updated World Series odds, where teams currently stand after some of the bigger moves that were made in the offseason here. So, let's get into that. So, I'm going to switch some stuff around here. So again, I'm going to use my good buddy Vegas Insider because that kind of has, you know, what all the betting sites have. So right now, no surprise, the Dodgers they have the best odds. Then you got the Braves, the Yankees, the Astros, and the Phillies. I don't know. For me, listen, I think the Astros should be ahead of the Yankees. I think they earn that right to be. For me as a Yankee fan, listen, on paper, they have improved their team significantly just by adding Juan Soto, but they still got some holes on this team, and they still have some guys that are kind of on the downside of their careers, like Giancarlo Stanton, DJ LeMahieu. We'll see if Anthony Rizzo can bounce back. But the other thing, too, is as I was going through it over the last couple of days, I was saying a lot of ifs to myself. Like, if this guy could bounce back, if this guy can bounce back, if this can happen, it's a lot of ifs. If Stanton can stay healthy, if Rizzo can bounce back, if LeMahieu could continue to do what he did in the second half of the season, if Carlos Rodon can bounce back, there's so many, Nestor Cortez, there's so many guys with ifs, and I feel like because of that, I still think the Yankees are going to be a good team. I think they'll be a 90+ win team. I think they'll make the playoffs. But I don't know. I can't say this team is going to win the World Series. I can't. I don't want to say it. The Dodgers and the Braves, yeah. I can't disagree with them being ahead of them. I think I would put the Astros ahead of the Yankees because of the Astros' success that they've had over the Yankees in years past. But again, this is going off of just next year. Now, do I think that the Yankees are better than the Astros right now? I don't want to say that. I don't, because we got to go out there and prove it. Now, the funny thing is, the Yankees actually finished with a winning record against the Astros in 2023, and of course, that's when they don't even make the playoffs. So, they swept them when they brought up, Dominguez and Austin Wells, but I don't know. I can't put the I can't put the Yankees ahead of them. I don't even know if I'd put the Yankees ahead of the Phillies. Because right now, with the Yankees adding Soto and Verdugo, do the Yankees have a better lineup than the Phillies? And, listen, it's close because you have Aaron Judge and you have Juan Soto, but I don't know. You got Harper, Real Muto. You would take Real Muto over the Yankees catching situation. You would take Trey Turner. You'd probably take Trey Turner over Volpe. No, you would. Schwarber. Schwarber had a really weird year, but I think you'd probably take Schwarber over Stanton right now as a hitter, I guess, right? Who else am I missing? I'm missing. I'm drawing a blank here. Who else am I missing here? Because Hoskins is a free agent now. I said Harper. I should. Oh, Castellanos. You're not. Well, you're not taking. Well, he's playing a corner outfield spot. You're not taking him over Judge or Stanton or Soto. Listen, it's close. And then you look at the rotation, too. You got Nola, the Wheeler. Obviously Cole is better than both of them, but then after that, you're taking Rodon over another over Nola. I don't know at this point. Nola's good in the postseason. Yeah, I don't know. The Yankees have a lot more question marks in their rotation as opposed to the Phillies. At least I think, from my perspective. So, I guess maybe you take the Yankees bullpen over the Phillies bullpen. So, I don't know. But I feel like the lineups, it's definitely close, but I think you give the slight edge to the Phillies. So, I don't know. Maybe that's just me being down on the Yankees. Well, let's see. Let's look at the Phillies' projected lineup for 2024. So, you got Schwarber, Trey Turner, Bryce Harper, Castellanos, Alec Boehm, Bryson Stott, Real Muto, Brandon Marsh. Listen, Bowman and Bryson Stott, they were productive last year. I'd probably take them over LeMahieu. I'd probably take Torres, over Stott right now. Gleyber Torres had a good year last year. So yeah, I mean, the lineups are very close. I think I'd give the slight edge to the Phillies. So I'd probably put the Yankees at 5. And actually, the other thing too is you got the Rangers. So actually, let me go to. Do I still have Vegas Insider opened up on my phone? I don't. Hold on, because obviously, they're cut off here. Yeah, I mean, listen, I think the Yankees deserve to be in the top 10. But I don't know if I would. I don't know if I'd put them at 3. But yeah, so then you got the Rangers would be at 6. Orioles, Blue Jays, Mariners, Twins, Mets, Cardinals. Yeah, I mean, that's just going down the line. Yeah, I mean, Yankees are top 10. I mean, I would put them ahead of the. I actually would put them ahead of the Orioles. I think, for me personally, I think the Yankees are going to win the division. I just feel like with a full year of Judge and also with Soto, I feel like if those guys are healthy, I feel like they're gonna they're gonna drive in a lot of runs, and this Yankee team is gonna be better offensively. You also got Anthony Volpe in year 2. I think that they're going to, with the healthy Judge this year or next year, I think they're going to win the division. But again, it's going to be tough. It's going to be tough. But I mean, I can't really disagree with the top 2 teams being the Dodgers and the Braves. I tried clearing my throat and I ended up just making a weird noise instead. But I mean, what the Dodgers have been able to do, and it doesn't even seem like they're done yet. I mean, I just told you before, they look like they're trying to add Hader now to this super team. So I mean, they're not done making moves yet. But I don't know. We'll just have to see. And then the Braves, of course, I mean, they're coming off of their great year. I mean, what Acuna was able to do, Matt Olson. I mean, that team is insane, too. It's just, for some reason, they can't get out of the division series, losing to the Phillies back-to-back seasons. But I mean, it will be kind of funny if, like, the Dodgers lose, after getting a bye, and they're still being, the excuse of, well, they had too much time off. Well, they have a really good team. I mean, they should be able to, overcome that. But yeah, it's going to be interesting. But let me know what you guys think, about these odds. Who do you think, has the best odds to get to the World Series right now, even though it's like so early. But it's not never too early to make predictions, right? I mean, it's just teams are a little bit different now. But I would definitely put the Yankees lower. I mean, but the Rangers are getting disrespected. I mean, they just won the World Series. How are you going to put them, that low? Well, not that low, but outside of the top 5. But again, that's just what these sites believe. So, they're just gonna have to prove them wrong. But yeah, I mean, we'll see. We'll see what happens. I mean, for me, I don't want to be, too high on the Yankees. I want to, control my expectations a little bit. I mean, listen, when we got Soto, I wasn't like, oh, we're winning the World Series. No, I don't believe that. But I think they are going to be a good team. They should be a very good team this year. This year, next year, whatever you want to call it. I mean, it's almost a new year anyways, so. But yeah, I mean, I think they're going to be a very good team. But again, I don't know if they're going to make it all the way because they still have a lot of question marks. The rotation really is the thing that concerns me. If they can plug up the holes that they need to with that, like if you can add maybe a Jordan Montgomery, maybe you trade. I mean, they're talking about, Corbin Burns. I mean, is he going to get traded? Shane Bieber, Dylan Cease. These are guys that I actually didn't even mention in the last segment. But, whoever ends up with, those guys, that changes it a little bit. Shane Bieber's had his injury problems the last couple of seasons. Dylan Cease kind of had a rough year. I mean, listen, I would love if the Yankees got Corbin Burns. I mean, I would take, either of the three. Um, Even though some of them have their concerns, of course, like I just said, Bieber with his injury history, but we're not trading for these guys to come in and be our best starter because Yankees have Garrett Cole, and it's the same thing for some of the other teams. Same thing with the Braves. With Fried and Strider, I mean, they would need somebody else. It's not like they're coming in to be their number one guy. These trade candidates. Same thing with the Dodgers with who they've added. You're just looking to fill out the rest of your rotation. I mean, obviously, Trevor Bauer's a name that continues to be floated around. I don't know. I don't know if I want him. I mean, is he gonna be good again? I don't know. And plus with the whole situation, the off the field situation, I don't know if I want that. But so we'll see what happens. But I mean that's what the current odds are right now. Obviously it's going to change, but I just thought it was something to touch upon. Especially with the bigger names off the board now. So. But yeah, that's pretty much it for the show today. Once again, in about a half hour, I'll be streaming the football podcast. So we'll preview all the games for this week, also including the college games as well, because there's going to be no show on Monday because of New Year's Day. So we'll be back again the following day, and if not Wednesday. So yeah, make sure to tune in for the football show. Look out for the shorts that will be released throughout the day, and and that's pretty much it. This is again the final baseball show of 2023. It's been wild. We started this back in September, and it's been a lot of fun. And, I hope for, some more fun in 2024. Obviously, the baseball season, will be coming up within the coming months. So that's something to look forward to. And on top of that, also got, like I said, more hosts will be on, more shows will be coming out. So make sure to tune in for all of those when they start up in the new year. And so again, I hope you guys enjoyed the show for today, and hopefully I see you guys in a half hour when I stream. Again, I'm in my basement right now. I'm not in my typical setup in my room because, again, family has off this week, so I didn't want to, disturb everybody while, people trying to catch up on their sleep, and I'm talking at, 9 a.m. in the morning, on the East Coast here. So, with that is all the time that we have for today, or for this show. Once again, thank you guys for tuning in. Make sure to tune in for the football show in about a half hour. If not, I will see you guys next time. So, as always, I'm your host, Kenneth Grunfelder, signing off from the GSMC Baseball Podcast, brought to you by the GSMC Sports Network. Have a good day. Hope to see you guys in a half hour. If not, take care, and Happy New Year.